Okay, hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to the first PrestaShop project live update of the year. And as you noticed, the event is no longer called PrestaShop Public Demo. It's now PrestaShop Project Live Update, and it's because of the few reasons. First of all, we think that the format of the live updates is more accurate to the things that we show. It's not only about the demos. We also would like to experiment with some new formats like interviews, maybe some community projects overviews. So yeah, welcome to the PrestaShop Project Live Update. This is the first session of this year. And let's get it started. My name is Christian Podemski. I'm tech evangelist for the PrestaShop project. And today with me, I have two project members, Valentin and Mathieu, who presented for you some very interesting demos. But first of all, let's go through today's agenda. As always, I will introduce you to the event rules. Then I will go and talk about some project news that I have for you. Then I will speak about, yeah, then we will go to the demos, which should be the most interesting part of the session. Before going to Q&A, I will do a little overview of some interesting pull requests that happen in December in the project and are coming to PrestaShop 8.1. And last but not least, we will have a Q&A session, and a little reminder, you can ask questions in the chat, or you can ask questions beforehand, before the live update, using the form that is available on the build block on the project's block. So first of all, event rules. As I told a minute ago, you can use chat to ask questions. So if you have any questions about the project, about the demos that are presented to you today, or any other project, any other questions that you may have that are related somehow to the project, feel free to ask them using the chat on YouTube. Secondly, this event is about the PrestaShop open source project. It is not about the PrestaShop company. This event is public and recorded, so you can see the replay of it later on YouTube. And last but not least, as always, please abide by the code of conduct of the project. Now, let's get into the news. The first big news that I share with you today is that the first patch version for PrestaShop 8 is now available to download. After a few weeks of very intensive work from all the project members and some community contributors, the first maintenance release is now available, and it is available for you to upgrade if you are already on PrestaShop 8, but not only. Because if we speak about upgrades, there's a huge news coming, because the Autoupgrade module in version 4.15 is now available. This version enables you to upgrade directly from 1.7 to V8, and now V8.01. And one important thing is that this version doesn't support PrestaShop versions lower than 1.7. So if you happen to use PrestaShop 1.6, then you should use the previous version of the module, which was 4.14, upgrade from 1.6 to 1.7, and then proceed with the upgrade to version 8. If you want, you can download the module from GitHub. You can download the module directly from back office of your PrestaShop installation. And speaking about upgrades, I know that many of you waited for the first patch to start upgrading from 1.7 to V8. And as always, I do have some recommendations for you. First of all, do the full manual backup first. It really is important. The built-in feature in PrestaShop may be helpful. In PrestaShop Autoupgrade module may be helpful for you, but you should always have the full manual backup first. If you upgrade from 1.7, if you upgrade from major version to major version in general, there may be a situation where some of the non-native modules are no longer compatible. And to prevent some issues during the upgrade, there's a new option. I mean, not a new option, but there's a revamped option of the of the module that allows you to disable non-native modules during the upgrade process. It disables the modules, and then you can enable them one by one after an upgrade. And it's highly recommended to do that, simply because the PrestaShop 8 version is still fresh. The ecosystem is still not fully compatible with it. So my recommendation would be to disable non-native modules if you want to upgrade from 1.7 to 8. Last but not least, don't do any upgrades on the production server. It really doesn't make any sense. If you want to upgrade from major to major version from 1.7 to 8, do that first on the staging or some test environments, because upgrading on production is too risky. Secondly, if you want to upgrade if you use 8.0 already and you want to upgrade to the first patch version, I also encourage you to do the full manual backup first and to do the first test upgrade on the staging or test environment. There's always a good practice to test the upgrade first and then do it on the production server, simply because it's too complex process to just go fully on it on the production server. So there you go. It's a new version of Autoupgrade module. It's already available, and if you want to use PrestaShop 8, if you want to upgrade to PrestaShop 8, it is now possible to upgrade directly from your back office. And now let's get to something more interesting, to the demos. The first demo is from Valentin, and I will speak to you about some news about Hummingbird and do a little overview of the theme. So I'm inviting Valentin now.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Can you please put my screen on the demo and tell me when it's done?
Sure. Okay. All right. Cool. Here we go.
So today I'm going to show you some things about Hummingbirds, because I guess the last time we talked about it was during the last demo. Christian did a great job on showing you what we did on the theme. So what we did since the last demo is mainly working on first priority issues in order to release the theme. The QA already did a manual test on the theme and gave us some feedbacks that we have to fix. We have already fixed some feedback related to this, and just a few are left. We need to talk with them in order to fix what's left. There are only 7 issues left as priority 1 before we can do another QA pass on the theme. Most of them are pretty easy to fix and shouldn't take too much time, so the release is really, really soon. Every native modules are now compatible thanks to a community contributor, which is GBLAC. Occitan is currently working on something really important for the theme to be released, such as CLS issues, quality, lighthouse, and some other optimizations, like, for example, adding a plugin to Webpack, which is CSSO, permitting us to do some optimizations on the assets. A good news is that Progi, which is a PrestaShop employee, did a GitHub actions on the theme, meaning that if we merge our develop branch to master, we have a really zip done that you can still use in production. I just seen an issue open about it, like maybe you can't really use the zip for now because there is a small problem when you want to upload the theme, but we have to fix this soon. And some insight about the theme: we have more than 260 peers merged since the beginning of the theme. This is a pretty huge thing, thanks to everyone. So I'm going to show you a bit how the theme is looking right now. So here's the theme running on my local environment. We already did everything using Bootstrap 5, using TypeScript for the JavaScript side. The theme doesn't use jQuery at all, meaning that in the future, if we want to get rid of jQuery, this theme won't have to be remade. First of all, the last things we did is adding a new input where you can just add a product to the cart from the product list view. Let's see the product detail page. Everything has been written using the helpers of Bootstrap, meaning that you can still almost modify every style from the markup. There are some styles left on the CSS side, but we try to use as much helpers as we can, so it means that you can still override any template and still change a lot of style. What I can show you now is the cart. Cart has been redone. There are a few components that modules and sim and child sim can still use. Everything is documented inside a storybook that I will just show you later. If I just console log, for example, I think it's window.sim, we'll be able to see every JavaScript object we pushed to the window in order to consume them inside a module, for example, or a child sim. You can just pick one of those and do whatever you want. For example, you have an alert component, which is displaying an alert anywhere on the page. You have a progress ring component that I will just show you after a while inside the checkout process. The use quantity input component, if you need to have some quantity. Okay, if you need to add some quantity input anywhere on the page, and a new use toast component that you can still use in order to show some toast on the sim. Maybe I can still show you the toast. No, it's the alert component, but okay, let's go. I'll just show you this component on Storybook later. If I continue through the checkout process, you can see that now you have a stepper there, and you can still move from one place to another by just clicking it and modify things. And if I go to the end of the checkout process, you will see the order confirmation page, which has been redone completely. Let's continue with the checkout process because I just want to show you some specific things on the responsive view. So here is the page. Okay, I just refreshing the page. So we took a particular attention to the responsive view. This is something really recent, so I didn't take a look at this yet, but we need to fix it and open an issue about it. But the most important thing is that we just reordered things, tried to use as much as Bootstrap component as possible. Like as an example, the menu component is using a default Bootstrap component, so we don't have anything specific there, except for the depth of the menu, which can be an infinite depth. For example, if you have like 13 categories depth, it will work as expected. And what I wanted to show you is the checkout page, because there is the ring component which is used there, showing you on which step you are. Okay, and I guess that's it for the responsive view for the moment. We now have a small drop down there permitting you to access to any page of your account and sign out if you want. We have a component of the left of every pages of the account part of the sim, meaning that you can still move to any module page there or account page. A module can still just extend that template in order to show that menu. Because as you see, for example, this is the block wishlist module, which is present inside this menu on the left, and the module is just extending this template. But I guess this is because we overrided some module files in order to do this, so you might need to do this. And of course, every pages have been done, such as the store page, sitemap, and every CMS pages. You can see any product pages with the list. Face teachers have been completely redone regarding the markup and actually the JavaScript, because we wanted to get rid of jQuery and implement it using TypeScript. And you can see that this thing is working because it's just been merged today. I wanted to show you something else related to this. I don't remember. Oh, and yeah, of course, we have now a beautiful error page. We had an error there because we had a search input inside the page, but this search input is from a module including an ID, and we can't get rid of because there are some JavaScript linked to it. So we had to get rid of the search input inside the page content. So it means that you are forced to have it only in the header or only in the content, but you can't have like multiple inputs related to the search. And I guess that's pretty it. Yeah, let's go to show you the demo of the storybook. So Storybook is including every Bootstrap 5 component using the default variables. As you can see, the colors are still the default Bootstrap colors because we wanted to get rid of some PrestaShop linked styles in order to use the default Bootstrap colors. It helps us also being successful on accessibility things because we don't have to think about colors. I mean, we just rely on default Bootstrap colors, which are accessible enough by default. And there you have a theme folder, including some JavaScript component that we did ourselves. Like, for example, this one permits you to add any alert anywhere on the page in case you are a module or a child theme. You can still use this component in order to show some alerts anywhere on the page. You have the progress ring component and the use toast component permitting you to create some toast anywhere on the page. All of these components are still using Bootstrap style and markups, but we needed to add some specific JavaScript in order to permit you to generate these components on the fly. And if you check there, you have a Canvas tab showing you how the component is working, but you also have a document tab, including every documentation you need in order to use these components. As an example, you can see that this component is still accessible from the window.sim object. You can see every options of the component, meaning that you can still use any colors of Bootstrap, any needed configuration, like adding some title if you want to add the dismissible, or I don't know. You can still see everything on these pages, like everything is documented. And we should really make sure that when we add something specific to the theme, we just document it everywhere there. And so we're sure that everyone have the knowledge in order to use these components. Well, and I guess that's it. Let's continue the presentation. If you have any question, just write them in the chat, and we're going to answer them later on. So I want to give some special thanks to some guys from the community, but also some guys from PrestaShop, because this project has been pretty huge. It started like maybe 8 months ago, or maybe 10. I don't even remember. The first one I want to thank is Talks, because he's there from the beginning, giving a lot of feedbacks. We did a lot of peer programming sessions with him, trashing my French pronunciation of your name. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. I want to also thank Emparvazi, which is not really there since some months, but he did some really great job on the theme some months ago, and we miss you a lot, I guess. And I'm pretty sure that Talks and maybe Sharak and some other contributors agree with me. I want to thank Sharak, which is a committer to the project, because he's doing a lot of things on the theme and on the whole project, like doing a lot of reviews, giving some really interesting feedback. Thank you, man. I want to thank Occident too for the theme, because he did a lot of things, like for example the Webpack configuration. He's actually working on some CLS issues and giving feedbacks. Really great contributions. Thank you, man. GBLAC, which is more recent contributor, did a lot of fixes and worked on the native compatibility, for example. Good job, man. And Rod Risiru, sorry if I'm missing your name, who did a lot of PRs too. Thank you. So, and I may forget some guys contributing to the theme, like for example, a lot of guys from the FOB community. Thanks a lot. It was a cool project. It's not finished yet, but we're really getting closer to the release time. So I really appreciate what you did on the theme. And now, not breaking news, because I think a lot of guys know it, but I'm still leaving PrestaShop next week. So thanks a lot for all of those years. It's been like 3 years that I was working there. It was a real pleasure to talk to everyone in the of the community and inside PrestaShop. That was cool. Thank you all. And that's it for me. Thanks for listening me.
Thank you, man. First of all, I would like to thank you on behalf of all the project members, and I think on behalf of entire community for helping PrestaShop frontend move forward and project in general. I think you are leaving the project in a much better shape than it was. You introduced TypeScript. You managed to convince all the project members to create a new theme. So thank you for your awesome work, Valentin. And thank you for the presentation. It was great to see an overview of the Hummingbird. And I think normally you would go to the next demo, but I think we can answer some questions that the community has.
Okay.
The first being, I think this is the most popular question. When will be launched on the stable version?
We are going to launch a stable version. At least we are trying to do it for the 8.1 version of PrestaShop. It won't be the default theme, but at least it will be included in the build. And at the same time, it also means that we have to clear almost every priority 1 issues and the Kanban. I'm going to try to, or maybe you can still try to find the link, Christian, to share it to the community, because it's pretty useful.
Okay.
We need to clear every priority 1 issues before it's going stable. But as there are not so much works to be done, I guess we should be fine for the 8.1 version of PrestaShop. You finally learned to say H. Thank you, Danny.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of good comments. There's a comment that the menu looks good on mobile. So kudos for those who worked on that. And I think in general, it's a huge step forward when it comes to the front office in PrestaShop. So kudos to all involved. Kudos to all the project members and all the contributors from the community who helped it happen. And we are very, very close for the release of maybe not V1, but a version that could be used by merchants in the real life store. So if anyone has enough motivation to help us to continue with the project, to help us finishing the project, we encourage you to visit the repository on GitHub project, to visit the project itself on the GitHub repository to see the priority 1 issues. And do you have anything else to add?
By the way, yeah, we missed some question. Like, for example, Machen asked for one page checkout is possible in the new
Yes.
template. Actually, it's not a one-page checkout, but I would invite you to create an issue so we can talk about it in the future on the repository, because I guess this is something everyone wants, and we need to give it some noise in order to prioritize it in the future. And another one from Amory, which is, it could be nice in the storybook to have both components and some pages, but the documentation is already super cool. I did try to add some pages to the storybook, but I mean, I worked on like a Smarty builder. I think it will need a lot of work in order to build the Smarty into some raw HTML in order to add it to the storybook, because we are not using modern libraries such as Vue or React or I don't know. So it means that we have to build the HTML before showing it on storybook. It's a huge work. I would have loved to do it because it would even make it easier to test things. Like, for example, we could have done some UI tests with Chromatic or I don't know. but actually it's really hard. So maybe it's something we can do in the future, but I will probably won't be there to see it.
Daniel is asking if we could make the theme as the default for new installations of 8.1. I don't personally think so, because it's too much gap from the current modules. It's a switch of the bootstrap. It's quite a busy break somehow. So I think the community needs some time to prepare themselves for and their solutions for the new theme. So I think it's a matter of more time, maybe in V9, but I wouldn't say it's not set in stone, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks like a risky move, but I mean, about upgrade, it's not risky, but if you, about upgrade, it can be risky, but about installing
For the new
Linux,
installations, yeah, it should
I
make
think we have,
sense. I think we could give more visibility towards the theme on 8.1, or to make it as a reliable option in V9. That's my point of view, but we probably all the project members or stakeholders will discuss it during office hours, maybe, or on some other time. And there's another question from Alexandre. Does someone from PrestaShop will continue to work on Hummingbird or only community? And this, I think we can easily answer that it's a community project, community-driven project.
yeah, I would say
I'm
yes, because I'm the only one from the PrestaShop company working on the theme right now, except about talking about reviews that could be done from some guys from the PrestaShop company. But at the same time, we did involve some core developer from PrestaShop, trying to get knowledge and working on Hummingbird. So maybe I don't know if I can say it, but maybe Matthew and Nico will work on the theme. Let's see what we decide in the future.
I'm sure that it's so close to being released, and it's a hugely anticipated thing from the community that someone from company will from the project will take over. And yeah, I see answer from Pablo. The company will continue to participate in the theme, especially since it's meant to become the default one. So yeah. All right, that's it. If you have any other questions, make sure to ask them on the chat. And now I will invite Mathieu to the stage to present another demo. Thank you, Valentin.
Thanks.
All right, Mathieu, I'm inviting you to the stage.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Hello.
Okay, I will let you share your screen, and you can start.
Partage d'écran. Tac, écran entier.
Do you need any help, Mathieu? We have some technical issues. All right, let's wait a bit. Okay, we have some technical issues, so maybe I will go to the pull request overview, and we will wait for Mathieu to join us because he went offline. So let me take over of the presentation. And yeah, let's switch to the pull request overview. Tech issues happens, yeah? Oh, I see Mathieu. Okay, is everything okay? We lost you for a moment. Hello, Mathieu, can you hear me?
Front, left.
Yes, sorry, my computer freezed completely when I had to choose the screen I needed to share. I'm gonna try it again.
Okay, so let's try, and if something happens, then I can take over.
Partager l'écran.
Okay, I think I see your screen, so
Okay, good. Sorry about this.
no worries, no worries. Okay, you are live now. You can start with the presentation. Enjoy.
Yes, so I'm going to talk about what me and Nicolas Loyer have been working on for the past few weeks. So it's WebP and Avif in PrestaShop, and the possibility to have multiple image formats generation. So I'm gonna explain you a little bit of this. So actually, instead of reading this, I'm going to show you on my computer directly. So this is the image setting page, and this is the current form, what we have today. As you can see, we can only choose one image format. So now I'm going to activate the experimental feature. It's experimental because it's a work in progress. Up, design, image. So as you can see now, you can select several image formats. For example, JPEG, PNG, WebP. The advantage of this is that front office team developer will be able to set picture elements in the HTML. And if you have several image formats, the browser will choose the one which is the most interesting for the current browser and the current user device. Because, for example, WebP and Avif are very efficient image formats, but they are not supported by all devices.
So let me interrupt you, Matthew. Could you zoom in your image, your browser window a bit?
Oh yes.
Because we cannot see the text. Yeah, it's much better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. That's the new form. As you can see, you can select multiple image formats. So now I will show you how it works. I'm gonna go in. I had prepared everything before, but since I had to restart the computer, yes. Okay, we're set for the demo. Now, right now we have an image which is called 2.jpg. It's actually this image. And now that I save this form, for those who don't know, on PrestaShop, images are, for example, in images from the front office, product images, for example, they are all generated at the display of the page. So when you display a page, during the generation of a page, if some images don't exist, they are generated on the fly. So now I refresh this page, and I will show you that new images are generated. So as you can see, we now have JPEG, PNG, and WebP formats, image formats, just like I chose in the back office. So right now we decided not to implement the picture tag in the classic team, but I know that Valentin did implement it in the Hummingbird team. So this feature will be compatible with Hummingbird. So basically you can generate several images and the browser will choose the best images possible for the current device. Yes, in front office, yes, I have to open PHP Storm. Up. I'm going to dump the product cover variable. And as you can see, we now have a new sources key, which contains all the image formats. So the team developer can do what he wants with it, according to his preference. And so we also add two new services related to this feature. For example, we have a new image format configuration service for convenient image format management. I will show you a little bit about this. It's basically a service to, how to explain, all the image formats are recorded in a configuration field, all in one field. So, but we don't have module developers, for example, to have to do the parsing of these formats by themselves, the explodes in PHP, etc. So we added some helper methods, functions like get generation formats to get a list of image formats. It returns an array. Add generation format to add a single format. There's also set list of generation formats. Let's say you're a module developer and for some reason you want to implement your own form for recording, for selecting image generation formats, then you can use this method to erase the list and set a new one. And you can also check that the generation format is configured with its generation format set. And there's also another service, Avif extension checker, that will check if your server is compatible with Avif pictures. I think the Avif image format is compatible since PHP 8.1, but you also have to have some specific libraries installed on your server. So it's pretty hard to check if it's compatible or not. So what this service does is that it tries to create an actual Avif image and then delete it. It's kind of heavy, it's costly. That's why it should be used carefully. But we did put the result in a cached property, so to avoid doing it again and again. And that's it. Both the services are obviously available through Symfony's service container. So you can find the service definitions here. And that's it for the code. So as I showed you, the feature for now is behind the feature flag. It's still a work in progress. It will be probably available fully in PrestaShop 9. That's what I think. We already have feedbacks from the quality assurance team, Aurélien, and we keep working on it. So it's still a work in progress. And that's it for me, Christian.
Hey, thank you, Matthew. I'm happy that you managed to solve your, technical issues. We do have some questions, and I see, the conversation is going on in the comments, but for the sake of the recording, I think we will answer them anyway. So there's a question whether this feature will increase the product image folder size. And obviously, obviously it will drastically if you chose all options. It will increase the image folder size drastically. So it's probably recommended to select the format that you want to support, the modern format and the legacy format as a fallback. So JPEG plus WebP should be enough, right, Matthew?
No, I think you said everything, and also it's true that if you want to have all the possible formats for the browser to select the best one for the current device, you will have 4 images per image size, which is a lot of image. And if you check high definition image in the product settings, in the image settings, you multiply this whole number by 2. So I did the test, and it can become quite heavy quite fast. So obviously you must be careful with this. You must check the capabilities of your server and carefully choose the formats you want.
Right. So the next question is a bit out of topic question, but someone is asking, what's your PHP Storm theme?
Is my screen still shared? No, I will tell you. I don't know. I think it's a theme that is there by default. I think it's called Darkula. Darkula. If you go to settings, appearance, there are several themes.
I do believe it's Dracula or some variation of Dracula theme.
Yes, and it's also the new PHP Storm interface. You can activate it in the settings in the last version of. Oh, my screen is shared. Sorry.
It's not anymore. Sorry. All right. So the next question is more related to the Hummingbird theme, but I think we can invite Valentin to the stage because this is the time for Q&A session. Hello again, Valentin.
Hi again.
So I think we answered this question already, but there's there are still some doubts whether the Hummingbird should be available as a replacement for Classic in the upcoming version of PrestaShop, upcoming minor version.
Yeah,
And
Mateus
Sorry,
and
Steve.
Pablo answered it right. Like it can be considered as a BC, but well, this is a choice we have to do anyway. I'm not sure we have stayed on it.
I think it's still a risky move. It's still too soon, and it's most importantly not about the theme and its quality itself. It's more importantly about the third-party solutions and basically all the modules that use some native features that are now available in Classic that modifies the markup and so on and so forth. This will cause some segmentation in the ecosystem because there will be some modules that support Classic and all the themes that are based on Classic, and eventually there will be some themes that started from Hummingbird, which has a completely different code base than the Classic. So we need to be very careful about it, and it's not something that we can just rush because it puts at risk every community module that use the front office. So it's not that easy to make such a decision, but I believe V9 would be the proper time the accurate time to make that decision. Going to some other questions. There's an ongoing discussion regarding the Hummingbird. So there's a comment from Tarjiba. The module devs, the hooks will still work. So a lot of modules that are working in the Classic will work in Hummingbird, but the front-end module style will be old. I think that's the case.
Yeah, there are some breaking changes between Bootstrap 4 and Bootstrap 5, and even more if we think about the fact that Classic was using a Bootstrap 4 alpha version, which is including even more breaking changes. Like, for example, every data attribute changed, a lot of helpers changed, so it's obviously a lot of changes for every modules and whatever. We needed to override a lot of native modules, for example, in order to make them compatible with the theme, and it will be the same for every module. So
exactly. Speaking about Hummingbird and new image generation, new formats generation, Matthew mentioned that there is a picture tag coming to the Hummingbird, or is it already available to use the new core feature from PrestaShop? To use the WebP and Avif in front office?
well, actually, we implemented the picture tags almost everywhere on the Hummingbird side, but it doesn't make it incompatible with a lower version of PrestaShop because the default SRC key of the object is the same. So it means that if the source is not existing inside the data, it will work as expected, but with a picture tag, including only the default image size. So it will work as expected. And I think we didn't plan to add all of these picture tags to Classic as it should be probably deprecated in the future. So
that makes sense. And if I recall correctly, the new feature, the new picture tags also allows us to load only those image sizes that are required for a certain image display sizes, right? So if we are on the mobile, the Hummingbird theme will load only those sizes that are required for good quality pictures to be loaded, instead of loading the huge image on the mobile screen. There will be only the small image loaded, so that the bandwidth is much better treated.
yep, it was also a pain for Classic to not be able to display some 2x and 3x images, but at the same time, if you add more image sizes and whatever, it will also increase the folder size, as someone said in the chat. Because of course you will need more size, more image sizes, so you will have more copies, and so it will increase the size. But this is, I think, something we need in order to provide a good quality front office for every client and users. So.
All right. So there's a question coming from Presta Alba. Is there some divorce between the PrestaShop project and the PrestaShop company? And for the sake of the recording, I will repeat what Mateus, who is a product manager in the PrestaShop project, says on the chat, that basically the company is waiting for most partner and basically third-party solutions to be compatible with V8, so they can release V8 on the .com website. But let's focus on the open source project. There are some questions that we have that were asked by the community about using the form that we share below every announcement, every live update announcement. I will share the link to the form right now. So if there are any questions that the community have, you can use the form. You don't need to ask us anything during the live update. You can use the form. So those two questions are, the first one is related to the Autoupgrade module. And as I've shown you on the beginning, the Autoupgrade module has been released a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it is now possible to upgrade from 1.7 to 8 and from 8 to the first patch version of 8 directly from backoffice. And the second question is regarding a possibility of injecting the code within a module to the core in PrestaShop bundle, for instance, to the core cart rule calculator's behavior. And it all depends whether the class is registered as a service or not. If I'm not mistaken, the classes used in front office are not registered as a services, because there's no a global Symfony container available in front office just yet. So there's no way to ever override the behavior of this class as of yet. But there's some work going on the cat rules, and it is possible that replacing behavior of any cat rules, any things that are related to creating discounts in PrestaShop will be possible in the future in V9 or V10. But this is something that it's still only a matter of an idea, not an existing work, an existing project in the work. It's too soon to tell if it will be possible easily or not. But my guess is that it will be possible to override it. Just to be precise, not to override it, to replace it, because the project members don't really want to introduce any code that is easily overridable. As we know, overrides are not really a best practice for changing the behavior of the core. Yet another question from Presta Alba. So if a major PS version will have a lifetime of 6 to 9 months, and PS8 was released 2 months ago, we will only have a completely environment for 6 months according to PSCO. I think this is something that we could get back to you because it's not entirely true. You are not forced to update. Plus, there's a certain amount of time that the major versions will be supported, both in terms of patches, regular patches, and security fixes. I think there is an article of on the build blog that is basically summarizing idea of release cycle in the future. So it's not entirely true, and it doesn't mean that if you change from 8 to 8.1 or 8 to 9 that your solutions won't work anymore. It's always a matter of some changes that are required from solution architects to implement into their solutions. All right. So I think we can treat it as a last question, unless there are more questions regarding the project and regarding the 2 demos that were shown today. If not, if there are no more questions, I would like to thank you, Mathieu. I would like to thank you, Valentin. And again, a big thank you to Valentin for all the work that he did in the project, because he introduced some big projects that have a big impact on the project and the quality of the project, starting with TypeScript and highly anticipated Hummingbird. So big kudos to you, big thank you to you, Valentin, again.
You're welcome.
Don't worry,
Thank
I
you.
will try to not fuck up Hummingbird too much.
Anyway, I will keep my eyes on it, so don't worry.
Great, that's great to hear. Thank you guys for being there with me. Thank you to the community for watching, and see you next month. See ya.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.